Hi, I'm Katie. I left Newhall in 2016 with A-levels in history, politics and maths. I went on to study a history and politics degree at the University of Sheffield, graduating last year. And I now am a Teach First trainee, becoming a maths teacher. Thinking about universities, there's a couple of really important things. Think about the campus-city relationship of the university. So Sheffield is a campus uni, but right on the edge of a city. So all of the buildings are based in one area of the town, which is known as the University Quarter, and it's really close to the city centre. So you feel a part of the Sheffield community as much as you feel a part of the university. Another really important thing to think about is the Students' Union. I know I didn't think about this too much, but actually it's really important that you find a students' union that will fight for you rather than acting against you. So at my students' union I got fees protection, which meant that my fees didn't go up between first and second year, which was great. There was always mental health and welfare provision, which is always reassuring to know that it's there for me if I ever needed it. It had award-winning nights out, and it had hundreds of societies, everything from K-pop dance to your sort of traditional rugby, hockey, netball teams. A final really important thing to think about when applying for universities is accommodation. Accommodation's a big deal because you don't realise how stressful it can be at sometimes to find accommodation. I know I've had friends at other universities that found finding accommodation quite hard and very competitive, but actually at Sheffield it's not in any way. There's no queuing outside a lettings agent to get good houses. It's the second cheapest accommodation in the country. Any money saving is always good, but all of the accommodations are quite good standard, which means that I applied in like February and March, quite late for my accommodation with my friends, but actually we lived in really nice houses and really nice areas, and we never struggled finding nice accommodation at all. Advice about history and politics courses in general. You're going to find that in both there are going to be compulsory modules that you're going to not want to take, and that's fine. Trust me, I had my few in first year where I questioned why I was doing them, but they're there to provide a grounding to the more interesting modules you'll do in second and third year. My advice is don't worry about the compulsory modules. Everyone on every course is going to have a module they don't want to be in. Sometimes you've just got to accept it. But really look into the second and third year modules that you could be taking. Sometimes they'll change at university, so don't take it as a list of promises of I'm going to choose these courses. But really look for things you will be interested in studying. So for me, I've always liked modern history, and finding really nice and interesting modern history modules was really important. And I like society and politics-based history. So I studied modules like the history of mental health in Britain and British political history in the 19th century, which were both really interesting. On the politics side of the degree, so if you're taking a straight politics degree or a politics and international relations degree, really pay attention to where your department's speciality is. All departments will teach everything, but each department will have a speciality or will have centres within them that specialise in certain areas of politics. For Sheffield, the politics is theoretical international relations, which I didn't have any interest in at all, I have to admit, and British politics, which I loved, and it's the home of what's called the Crick Centre, which is a leading body doing research into British politics in the UK. This meant that I knew that these modules that I was interested in, I knew I was going to get the best teaching from them. Research. Don't be afraid to spend a bit of time on your lecturers' Twitter accounts. Don't be afraid to look up other people who have taken the same course at your university or who's running modules at the university. The more research you can do, the happier you will feel when you apply. For me, I remember looking up people like Dr. Felicity Matthews, who is a lecturer in British politics at my university, and occasionally pops up on the news sometimes, which is quite strange. Some advice for some freshers, for anyone who's joining in September or in the future. There are sort of three main things. One, societies. They are the key to everything. Yes, you'll make friends in your course, and you'll make friends in your flat, and you'll make friends with everyone you can. But societies really provide you the opportunity to make friends with people that have the same interests as you. And don't be afraid to join loads and then not turn up after 2 weeks. People don't mind. I ran the Politics Society, and we'd run loads of events, and we'd see loads of freshers, and they'd disappear. And we didn't mind. Don't worry about feeling awkward at these. Remember, everyone is new, and just try and get stuck in as much as you can. Another really important thing is sport. I know that some of you might not be sporty. I definitely was, so I knew it was something I wanted to do. But really embrace sport at any level, because on the de-stress level, it's really important to get out, do some exercise, get out into the fresh air. So at my university, I played rugby for the 3 years, and I came in with very little to no experience, and ended up playing first team by the end. But at other universities, including at Sheffield, there's lots of lower level sport. So at Sheffield, there's two options. You can either do social sport, which is just pay £2, have a kickabout, do some yoga, what have you, and you can come and go whenever you like. Or there's something called intramural sport. Intramural sport is where you compete as societies. So for me, I played netball for my rugby team. So on a Thursday afternoon, I would go to the sports hall and I'd play a netball match representing rugby. But you could have represented the Politics Society, or you could have represented your choir or something like that. The final important thing, and this isn't for freshers, it's for second and third year, join a committee. Any committee, something you're interested in. It just makes applying for jobs so much easier, because every job will have a list of competencies that they want you to complete. And being a part of a committee ticks off so many of those competencies. Everything from organisation to team working, stuff like that. It really helps for you to go, oh, well, I have experience of team working because I've worked with a team to organise this ball or this event at university. For me, I was the treasurer of the Politics Society for 2 years. I really enjoyed the role, but it meant that for me, I could put it down as an achievement and be able to talk about it in interviews. And always people were quite impressed with you working away from your degree. That brings us nicely on to jobs and applying for roles. So I now am part of the Teach First programme. The Teach First programme is about providing free and fair education for all, and really working in some of the most deprived communities in the UK to provide excellent teaching. And beyond that, to have a set of Teach First ambassadors working within education to make education better for society as a whole. I think the key thing about jobs is it's completely fine to completely change your mind. I thought that I wanted to be a civil servant and work in a department in government, or work for a minister or an MP. I really wanted to be politics related. And I spent a summer between my second and third year working for the Department for Work and Pensions. And as much as I enjoyed it, the idea of sitting behind a desk all day wasn't for me. And I met someone there who'd done Teach First, and she suggested maybe that's something you want to try. So I applied, and here I am now. Teach First, really important. Do not do what I do. Teach First applications, like most grad schemes, open in September. Fill out a couple of forms, do an applicant day with other teachers where you teach a 7-minute lesson, which is quite strange. And then you have to do all the things you need to do, references, etc. Apply in September. If you're interested in doing Teach First, apply in September. I applied in April, about 2 weeks before the deadline, and it led to a lot of stress during my final year, because I had dissertations due and exams and all of this job application stuff, and it was very stressful. So in third year, if you're committed to a graduate scheme, you need to be on it in September and October when they open. Apply when they open and do not wait until the deadline. I think the most important thing is pick something, when you're applying for jobs, pick something that you're going to enjoy and pick something you feel passionate about. You don't have to work in a job just because of the money or sort of the connections it's going to give you. Think about a wider impact to society. So for me, I knew that I wanted to do something for a general wider good, and to work somewhere where I felt like I was giving back. Teach First provides all of that completely, and because I have to do essays alongside my work, I still feel academically stimulated, which is also really important about a job. Final plug for Teach First is that if you're going to be a secondary school teacher, I would really, really suggest it. It will provide you with endless connections, not only within teaching, but within other jobs. The reason why Teach First is called Teach First is it's about getting good graduates to do 2 years of teaching before going on to other careers. If then you apply for a job at a big law firm or a bank, they put you to the front of the queue because they know that you pass their competencies just by doing the 2 years of Teach First, because it's stressful. It's an incredibly hard job and you have to be resilient, but it really does provide you with a basis for your future. So yeah, I hope that helps. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about Sheffield, applying to universities, Teach First, or teaching, including sort of especially secondary teaching. I will be happy to answer any of them. I think really importantly, don't be afraid to go to somewhere where no one else is going. So for me, a lot of my friends weren't going anywhere near the north of England, and that was scary because I wouldn't be close to my friends. But in the end, I'm still friends with those people, and I have amazing new friends from this new city. So don't be afraid to push the boat out, because in the end, you will make new friends and you will have a good time where you go, especially if you've picked it because you love the university. Hope that helped.